What's going on, football fans? It's your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football, back with another video for you. Gonna dive into the Miami Dolphins releasing Tyreek Hill. But before I do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're building an awesome community here where we talk everything NFL football. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button. We got plenty of awesome content coming to you this offseason. Also, make sure to like and comment on this video. Where do you think Tyreek Hill ends up? Let's dive into today's video. I was just talking about on another video the fact that this Miami Dolphins team is going to probably be rebuilding, and a second later, I get a notification that they released 8-time Pro Bowler Tyreek Hill. And just before that, they also released their defensive end and pass rushing specialist, Bradley Chubb. So it is very obvious to me that this Dolphins team is going into a very serious rebuild mode. I expect Tua Tagovailoa to not be long after. One of the most interesting aspects to me about this whole situation, though, is the fact that they cut both of these players. So in a sense, they're actually not getting anything out of the fact that they cut both Chubb and Tyreek Hill, besides potentially saving some money down the road. Tyreek Hill had essentially 1 year left on his contract. I think it was a $27 million hit to their salary cap, and a lot of that is still going to be dead money. But they needed to cut ties with this wide receiver who, in the last couple years, has seen a downtrend. There's a couple important factors that needs to be said when it comes to Tyreek Hill. Number one, Tyreek Hill is 31 years old. That is on the other side of the hill when it comes to wide receivers. And when you combine that with the fact that Tyreek Hill just dislocated his knee and tore his ACL, this is a very upward hill battle that Tyreek Hill is going to need to face. And so you have to wonder how much of an impact he was going to have on this Dolphins team this upcoming year. But now it's how much of an impact can he have on a different team? There's a lot of people out there already talking about where Tyreek Hill will end up. I heard Stephen A saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are a perfect fit for him. I myself am really concerned about that fact. Number one, they have three of basically the same type of wide receiver. Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Tyquan Thornton are essentially the same player as Tyreek Hill. And so why would you bring a player like Tyreek Hill back when you have three of the same type of wide receiver that are actually younger? Also, Tyreek Hill has gone downward the last 2 years in his career. In 2023, he had almost 1,800 yards. And then last season in 2024, he didn't even hit the 1,000-yard mark. And that was playing in 17 games. And then in 4 games this most recent season before his injury, he had 21 catches for 265 yards and a touchdown. But for some reason, people still think that he was going to be the Tyreek Hill of old. I do think that this was actually a good decision by the Dolphins. I would have probably tried to trade him for some sort of asset before releasing him, but at this time, they just needed to cut ties. They needed to clear their book, right? That's why they let go of Chubb as well, and they need to start figuring out how they want to rebuild this team. They're not necessarily in a position in order to be able to revamp this team, reload right away. They're not necessarily in the best draft position to get a quarterback, let alone a marquee receiver like a Tyreek Hill, but they still have the ability to trade other assets and try to get into an even better position to get talent for down the road. I don't think this is going to be a quick fix. Sadly for the Dolphins fans, I do expect this situation to be a couple years at least of a rebuild, purely because of the fact that they're also going to be releasing Tua Tagovailoa, and so you're going to be looking for a quarterback as well. Now again, when it comes to landing spots for Tyreek Hill, I expect him to want to go to a competitor, but at the same time, I hate to get into his personal life. This guy has like 8 baby mamas. He's going to have to pay a lot of child support for all these kids. And so I don't think he's going to want to take a team-friendly deal. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be one of those players that has to go out and get however much money he can get. Now, if it's with the Chiefs, then good for him and good for them. But I don't think this is going to be a career that lasts more than 3 years beyond where we are. Being a speedster like that, it's like having a Lamborghini. Once you have a couple dings and dents and you have some major issues underneath the hood, the wheels tend to fall off, and that's really how I look at a player like a Tyreek Hill. I don't think he's going to be able to be the same caliber type of player, and so I do understand this decision by the Dolphins. I'm also just more so curious where he ends up going. For me, there's a lot of different teams that could use a wide receiver like a Tyreek Hill. I think if you're looking at the teams that probably need someone like him the most, you're looking at teams like the Indianapolis Colts. You're looking at teams like the Denver Broncos, or even the New England Patriots. You're talking about teams that are contenders that just are missing a few extra weapons that can get them over the hump. What do you think about what happened with Tyreek Hill? Do you think it was a good decision to cut him if you're the Miami Dolphins? Where do you think he'll end up? That's it for me today. Thank you again for watching. This is Bad Takes with Bad Takes in Football, signing out.